areas and represent his city citywide on any department that they're interested in within city government, and likewise with all the others. So I think it's, I write myself, but to be honest with you, I'm right pleased with it. And also it gives me as mayor the same opportunity that the line of authority comes down and goes to each of the various departments, and it sort of clarifies my function, so it makes me feel a little better too. So we've got any further discussion? Hearing none, we've got a motion and a second on the floor that we approve the organizational chart that all of them has in their hands. Any further discussion? I'll call for the vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? We've got a new organizational chart that we'll try to follow. Okay, anything else?
Dwayne?
Your vote. Mr. Johnson has moved that we adjourn. There's a second by Mr. Bloodworth. Boy, these two ends, they handle that part. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carried.
Under speed bump and not closing the street.
That's your
I mean,
decision.
that'll
That's our decision.
keep people from hauling tail through there. Put some flashing lights and repaint the crosswalks, and then the problem's solved. And we have helped them achieve what they want to achieve.
Well, let me ask you this, since it's not a very long street, it's just a question now. If we went where First Avenue butts into it, which is about halfway between 341 and 221, and put a speed bump there, people aren't going to be flying because that speed bump's coming up, and it might not be where a lot of people coming up there won't have to run over that thing every time you go up and down. That's probably an idea. Let me ask you this, Eric, to save time. If you got some time to get with us and a little chit chat and try to iron out these details this week?
I'll be able to Thursday morning.
Well, can you get it ready for Thursday night? If you can communicate with everybody? Or let me ask you this, maybe with your schedule, Mr. Raymond, you ain't got nothing to do.
Somebody has just assigned me to go to Perry tomorrow.
Oh, that's right, you won't even be here. Hey, Eric, will you do it for us?
I'll take it and, I'll get with y'all Thursday morning and
Try to come up with something we can approve Thursday night.
we can do that.
Thank you, that's good. All right, let's move on. All right, y'all see the easel and stand back there with both roundabouts, one out at Collins Street between the middle school and the high school, and one there at Pine Forest and Pat Dixon Road at the elementary school at the old board of education office. Both of those, Carl Hofstadter's got the tentatively layout of what it will entail. You've heard the retired teachers organization here. It doesn't come anywhere close to disturbing their monument. They're all clear, and I think that we can just tell Carl that everybody's pretty well happy to proceed with the design. Any other discussion about the roundabout?
When would this take place as far as the construction, between
Summer,
what period?
this coming summer, we hope. When
That's
school
what I
out.
was getting at. I want to see it done before or after school ends, and then before it starts back up.
If we can't do it, I'm almost, myself, wanting to recommend that we wait the next one, but I just don't think we can handle this during the school time.
It would be dangerous.
So if we can't get it, but I think Carl's well underway, but I don't know about, well, at any rate, it's gonna have to be done during the summer. Any other questions? Okay, we'll move along. Okay, why don't we go ahead and take Mr. Bragg, since he's made it in now. Mr. Bragg, we've been quite considerate of you, and you're dragging around somewhere else. We're delighted to have you.
It's been a ride, I tell you.
Yeah, it's been delighted to have you.
Thank you. Give you my condolences, being that I heard you was in Akron County. That's where my wife comes from, and I know that is only a step from that foreign country of Florida.
Absolutely, absolutely. We at the police department are using a report managing system now that is not compliant with the way the state wants us to go. So we, of course, you know that we don't have it in our budget to purchase new report management systems. So, Mr. Bragg with Courtware, which I've talked to him previously, but I also met him up in Athens when I was at the Chiefs training last week. And I think he's fixing to give you a pretty good presentation right here of how the belligerent offenders will pay, and it doesn't have to come out of the general fund.
You talking to my language.
This is Jason Bragg with Courtware Solutions.
You talking my language.
I know what politics.
That's it. Thank you so much for having me and waiting on me. So, our system is 100% offender-based. All right, that means no money up front, no money out of budget. It is paid for by the offenders. The offenders don't pay, the city don't get paid, Courtware don't get paid. All right, we've been in business 21 years. We have over 300 customers in Georgia. Our company is 100% paid for. We don't have any debt. So the model has worked. We were the first company in Georgia to go to the offender-based model, and it has worked for us this long. So the way this works is we would just ask that the council put a ordinance in place that will be called a technology fee ordinance. That ordinance will add a $35 charge to all citations except seatbelt, which is mandated you can't add a surcharge to. So once that fee goes into effect, then that monies will be used to pay for the software. If we work it out to where the software is $20 or $25 a ticket or per paid violation, the other 10 goes into that fee, into that fund, so that the chief and or the clerk of court can use that money to purchase technology for the department. As you see in your ordinance, I think everybody has a copy of, that monies can be used for police or municipal court technology functions, as the ordinance is written that we have there. So essentially, no money out of pocket. We have talked to the chief about even providing equipment for the department. That means laptops, printers, stands, inverters, outfit the whole car for our software. And with that, we will have a minimum. So if the charge is $30 a citation, then there will be a monthly minimum that will have to be met. If that monthly minimum is not met, then that would be the only time the city would have to pay the difference. So if you're only getting paid on 20 tickets a month, then you would be responsible as a city to pay the remainder up to that base minimum. So that will come once we decide that we're going to move forward. Then we will talk about the minimums and get all that worked out and ironed out. I guess I'm here tonight to ask if there's any questions in regards to the technology fund or the technology ordinance that you as a council has that we would ask to be approved for this technology fee, so that the police department doesn't have to use city funds or taxpaying dollars, for folks that aren't disobeying the law.
We always like to hear new innovations, and for you to come and give us this information, we're indeed grateful. I want to throw something out that's been thrown at me, and I want you to help us with this.
Okay.
Do you know anything about Cassell? And no, it's our new one. It's what's the name of our new?
It's through Cassell.
Through Cassell, but it's got another name.
Yeah.
Do you know anything about all of their software?
I do not.
It's a massive conglomerate of fire hydrants, accounting, payroll deductions, you name it. It's a complex set of computer software. One of our technicians says that housed in that we're paying for now is this type of system.
Okay, I've never heard of them. I've been in law for 18 years, and I have used many systems in my career. I have never heard of that company.
Well, I'm going to ask you then, since you're looking at this, at some point, I want you to communicate with them and sort of explain to us that where we can consider this, that we are not already have it within our system, and that yours doesn't or does improve it or whatever, I'd like for you to help us with that because we're not that technologically savvy.
Understood. In regards to that, our system is 100% state compliant. We're vetted by the GBI, so all of the tags, license tags, they can run in the car and import into citations or incident reports or accident reports. They can also take that GCIC query and get a picture of that person. So if that person says that they're James Smith, they get a picture. When they run James Smith, they'll get a picture so they can verify if that's him or not. Okay, that's just a feature that we have. So yes, I mean, we can, we're NIBRS compliant, which you probably don't know anything about, but it's the National Information-Based, or Incident-Based Management System that the state's going to. So every incident has to be reported to the FBI and GBI for crime statistic reporting. That's where your safest cities, that all those statistics come from that UCR reporting. So we're NIBRS compliant already, and that's going into effect next year. But we're already, as a company, have got that in place already. And we have a mobile version that will allow the chief to be able to view where all of his officers are. So if he can't get somebody on the radio, he can look at his phone and say, oh, I need to go here, this is where my officers are at. There's the ability of putting in house checks for residents that are gone. You can put those in, and those officers can go by, and it'll record when they check the premises. So just different features.
They might have something to do with the court, but they don't have anything to do with what you're talking about. I didn't mention it.
No, that's perfectly okay. And I've never heard of that. And they may have a court piece.
Yeah.
There's several companies out there that have a court piece, but
That's probably what it is.
sure.
Something to do with the court.
If I can ask a question, I'm city judge, where is the $35 fee, what is that based on? Is that based on a case count? Or what, you mentioned that as long as it's generated, the city has no liability for fee. What is the case count based on?
So we would ask that you pass a $35 tech fee, and then what we charge will come off of how many citations are being paid on a month.
But that's the
Correct.
question, how many does it take for the city says they don't have
He's
to
wanting,
pay?
give us a sort of a thumb rule of what it
Yeah,
might
so
be.
just if you're paying, if you're getting paid on, I don't remember, do you recall the number right offhand? That we were,
About 50, I think it was.
so around 50 citations a month that we're getting paid on, that the city's getting paid on currently. So we would be, if we're providing equipment, then we're gonna be right around that $30 per paid violation.
It will take that 50 to handle your bill,
That's correct.
at $30 per.
Okay, then if it's 100 cases, does that mean that you can charge a lesser technology fee?
We would renegotiate the contract after 1 year, okay? That technology fee is gonna be in place, and it will stay that way because we're gonna be providing equipment. If we were not providing equipment, then after 1 year, we would renegotiate that. With the equipment purchases, that's gonna put us in the hole about 18,000. So we're gonna take that and we're gonna, stretch that out over a 3-year period. So instead of you all having to come up with the 18,000, we're gonna make the offenders not only pay for the software, we're gonna make them pay for the equipment as well.
Along that same line, if we have 100 cases 1 month and 0 the next, let's just keep mathematics
Sure.
easy. Does that comply for 2 months?
Yeah.
Well,
Won't it?
no, it's based off per month because we have to pay the state monthly. So you have to meet that minimum each month.
So if we have the 100, and you say it goes into this account, it's put into that account for this purpose, then what we deposit is over with the 100 cases,
Absolutely.
we can pay that with that next month.
Absolutely. You just can't, when I say no, you can't, how y'all pay us is up to y'all as a whole. It doesn't matter to us. What I'm saying is you couldn't,
You gotta get paid monthly.
We've got to be paid monthly as a company.
And it's gonna take
So however-
approximately 50 cases to pay it.
Correct.
Correct. We're gonna have to pay $1,500 a month, which is paid $18,000.
That's correct.
But since our chief's gonna go from 50 cases a month to 100, we won't have any problem.
You don't have no problems at all.
It's not a problem. Casey.
That's right. If we can just get them to pay that monthly minimum, we'll be okay.
But what if they don't pay it?
Say again?
In the
What if
city,
they don't pay it?
in the city,
But we're gonna pay it, or he's gonna sue us, that's fine.
Well, so whatever that minimum is, that's all you'll be responsible. So whatever the minimum is monthly, that's all the city's responsible for. So if the city, if the police department don't write any tickets, or they don't get paid on any tickets a month, then the city would be responsible for the minimum, which
They write
will
me a
be
ticket,
somewhere around
they
13.
write me a ticket and I refuse to pay it. If I don't pay it,
Ken's gonna put you in
the
jail.
judge gonna put you in jail.
No, because then I gotta feed him.
that's what I'm saying. And nowadays, they'd rather put me in jail to feed them than walk, keep it going. Okay.
Yes. Y'all were asking about the numbers, and I've got them where I had emailed him.
Yeah.
In June, we had 48, in July, we had 96, August was 67, September was 63, October was 54, and November was 52. The lowest we had was December, and it was 22.
But how many's paying regularly?
That's paid.
That is paid.
That's
That's
paid.
That's paid per month.
Paid out.
That's paid.
Yes,
Per
sir.
month,
That, yes, sir, that is
Right.
the number of citations that were paid on each month.
that were actually paid out and we're through with, not
Right.
probation.
No, those were just, it could have been full payments or partial payments, but that's the total number of payments each month.
They were in compliance with the judge's order.
They were making payments.
They were in compliance with his order.
Yeah, but how many were paying more than $35 a month?
I can't answer that, he didn't ask for
Yeah,
that.
we just look at what's, we take an average of what has been paid, and even those that are put on probation, because it doesn't matter, the city's not gonna get paid until last, those that you put on probation, they're gonna pay all those other fees first, and then the last thing they pay is the city,
And it'll be, last one will be this one,
and
but,
the last one will be court.
but now let me give y'all a good report. I get that report every month. Thank you for giving me that, that's real good. They get the total number of cases, the total amount of fines, and all that disbursement you're talking about, and what we're talking about is adding one. But I want you to know, last month, and I will not say this, don't y'all broadcast it, but we met, the chief and his department brought us in, and the judge, about $10,000 last month. That's a lot better than we've been doing. A lot better, and I appreciate it. This blooming, thing of us not, I'm repeating myself, that department over there costs the citizens of Hazelhurst $1 million a year. A little small town like us, that police department costs us $1 million a year. And I'm of the firm belief that the lawbreakers ought to be paying a larger share of that money.
Absolutely.
And that's what and he's heard that, he's tired of it, but he's gonna hear some more.
I can say this, with statistics, with our software, the ease of issuing citations will increase your citation count by 40% a month.
Okay.
So, where, if I go up to a car and I see a lady with 5 kids in the car, I'm not gonna sit there and handwrite 6 different tickets. But if I have the ability to click a button 6 times, then I'm more apt to do that than I am to sit there and handwrite 6 citations. So your citation count's gonna increase.
Well, I want you to get in touch with our computer people that's familiar with our system.
Absolutely.
And I want you to come back with that, and then they'll come back to me. And have y'all got any other questions? They got some questions among themselves here. I don't know whether they got more for you or not.
That's okay. That's okay. And who did you say your computer software is that you're using now? Our computer software, Cell, it's got another name now too. They're affiliated with some name that I'm not familiar with. It's
The
new. But
equipment in the field, y'all maintain those?
We will, yes. That will come, provided we provide the equipment, we will, at the end of the 3-year contract, we will just renegotiate the contract and sign it again and add new computers.
Are
We'll
you,
just provide new
Mr.
equipment.
Mr. Turk, are you familiar with what this man's talking about?
Toller,
Pardon?
Toller. Ms.
I mean,
Toler,
totally, I'm sorry, yeah.
I think I missed part of it. What was the question?
No, I mean, are you familiar with the software that he's describing?
Oh, yes, they came and did a presentation for us, and it looks awesome. And for them to be state compliant with the UCR, or NIBRS is what they're going to, and to be able to run GCIC through the computers will be a great asset to the officers, because now when they call over to the 911 center, they get a description if they ask for it. Of the offender, but to actually be able to see that picture and know that they are out with who they claim to be, it will help them.
Okay, but now another thing I want, and I'm gonna ask you too, Mr. and you, sir. All this stuff now is integrated into our total system that we have. We've got a pretty good system, pay a lot of money for it. I wanna make sure that you're compatible with our system, and I'm sure you are, as much as you're in it.
Don't
But
have anything to do with it.
Pardon?
It don't have anything to do with it.
Oh, it doesn't?
Our report writing is not integrated into,
Yeah, we're
It
separate
may have,
from y'all now.
it may have a court management, the system that we have, but it don't have what he's talking about.
Okay, so I don't have to worry about being,
No,
not,
no.
oh, really? Okay, well, that's where you gotta educate me. I'm gonna, and I don't mind admitting it, that I don't know.
Yeah, it's a totally separate system, and we maintain the police department and the court, and we report everything straight to the state. And then there's monthly reports that we can print off to give totals and
And
give
it
you.
does the UCR for you, you said?
It does it for you, sure does.
and it automatically reports, accident reports to the state.
Like right now, they're having to do the accident report twice, once in their system and once in the state system. Well, now they'll just be able to do it in the car, and when it's approved, it goes straight to the state. So they don't have to do it twice. So, just one click of a button.
Any further questions? Okay, we will deliberate, and we will put this back on the agenda Thursday night to get a little bit more information. Maybe you can update us and get us a little bit more capable of, I don't know whether we can make a decision, but we'll try, yes or no, or either we'll learn a little bit more and go from there. We'll certainly go to work on it.
If I can ask a question,
Yes.
would it be just as efficient for y'all in terms of generating fees that y'all need if you did it as a percentage of the fine rather than a flat fee? I mean, here's my concern as judge. If I've got a fine that's $70 and all of a sudden that's a 50% increase for that $35, whereas if a $200 fine, it's not that big an increase, but you see what I'm saying? If you did a percentage, it makes it more equitable for the people involved, and you could make up the difference, 10% of $300.
Have you, in any of your years, 20-something years of experience, done that?
No, sir. No, sir. We just simply put it back on the offender. They're the ones that messed up, let them pay for it. And I understand that everybody makes mistakes. We want to help everybody as best we can. And there's no, there's nothing that says he can't reduce it. And he has that, authority to reduce it to whatever he wants. It's just
But we
saying
still
that-
gotta pay $30.
It's still saying that money's gonna be, yeah. But in that technology ordinance, then there will be a $30 or $35, add-on or technology fee, but,
Make them pay $30 for the reduction.
right?
Just
And then you
Cover
cover
what
it.
cost.
Sure,
Yeah,
you
$30.
can do it.
I reckon what I'm trying to understand is it a set fee of $1,500 a month based on case count? I mean,
It's based on the equipment that we're providing.
okay.
That's what that number is based
The
on.
estimate for the city is $1,500.
That's gonna be the minimum. It's-
Okay. Well, when you say the minimum, that's what I'm confused about. I mean, what does it matter where the $1,500 comes from, where it's $35 per offense, or if it's 10 on one offense and 25 on the other, and 75 on another?
It doesn't matter where
See
it
what I'm
comes
saying?
from. Yes, sir, I do, and it does not matter where it comes from. It's just, I guess, simpler to think of. If you pass an ordinance, then everything gets raised $35. So,
But again, I
Doesn't
have
matter.
a problem with a fine at $70 jumps 50%.
sure, sure.
Where it's a $300 fine, it doesn't even jump 10%. That's what's bothering me.
Gotcha.
But I do what the city council wants. So.
Yeah, but we appreciate your input.
Yeah.
All right, anybody else got any questions? All right, we all pretty well know what you presented, and we say this to you. It sounds like you've, I want the lawbreakers paying the bill, and it seems that this is sort of favorable to me, but I want to make sure that it works properly. I don't want to do anything that's not good for the city. That's all work on it, including you and your staff.
Whatever you need from me,
Work
just
on
let
it
me
this week so we can make an intelligent decision. Suit you gentlemen, we'll move along.
Thank you so much.
All right, I think we're down to,
I'm from Savannah.
number 9, and, let's see, number 9, yeah, a whole bunch of. And I'm gonna ask you, gentlemen, let's go ahead and get this taken care of and get it off the agenda for next week. Entertain, you all read these minutes I have. I make a motion that we approve these, work sessions and regular session minutes.
Make a motion.
Mr. Johnson made the motion, and you're seconding it?
Yes.
Mr. Blunt, got a motion made and seconded to approve these minutes. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No, you don't even have to put that on next week. All right, now we've got some training. We've got the field sobriety training from his Officer Dean. We've got the wellness, health and wellness training from Mr. Bush and Mr. Clausen. We've got supervisor level 1 training for David Moore. And we've got health and wellness training at another date for Jeremy Nelms.
All this at Forsyth?
All of it for us.
All of this aside, if you look at all this training,
Yes.
I entertain a motion.
Make a motion to go to the training.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Raymond. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Stay clear. You don't have to worry about that. We'll do that Thursday.
Thank you.
All right. Let's see, wait on that. Okay, I think all the rest of it, the things put that on, we don't need to go on our agenda Thursday night. Okay, we're down for, citizens' comments. Or staff. Rhonda, you're mighty quiet back there.
I've been quiet for too long. People been asking me on the street, what's going on? And people on the streets been asking me what's going on, and I've been quiet. I said, everybody's been quiet.
We appreciate you.
I know y'all do.
Okay, no citizen comments, either the staff, either of y'all got anything to say? Council?
I would like to take this opportunity to say to each and every one of you all, Mayor, thank you for allowing me to serve in the position that I'm in. And I think I'm talking with the majority of you all. I'm humbled and honored to work with each and every one of you. While I was working here a few weeks ago, I received a phone call stating that my name would be submitted for nomination for District 9 Director for GMC FOA. And with me only being here 3 years, my comment was, someone that's been here a lot longer should be more qualified for that. And when I went for training this past weekend, or weekend before last, in Jekyll, I received news and was sworn in as District 9 Director for the Georgia Municipal Clerks and Finance Officers Association. And I want to represent our city very well. And I'm honored again to serve here.
Congratulations, we'll give you a round of applause. For those of you that may not know some of the acronym or abbreviation she used, that's the City Clerks Association and whatever it is, financial officers. So that's that organization, and she's a big shot now, so y'all say ma'am to her. All right, anything else, council?
I got two new patrol cars on the street. You might have seen them.
I've seen
If you
3.
didn't, you will.
I've seen
Break the
3.
law, you will.
I've seen 3. I've seen Tahoe.
I don't want the two cars.
Okay, council, you've got before you this organizational chart that we looked at, and anybody, I've asked you to try to be ready to let's make some remarks about it tonight. Are you ready to make any remarks?
Yeah, I'll make a motion, we adopt it.
Oh my goodness. We're in a discussion session, and we ain't got to that point yet.
Second motion.
In case y'all haven't noticed, I've lost control. We have done a lot of work on doing this, and a lot of people had input. Ms. Bernice put out something early in the game that was, in fact, this is patterned on a large extent after what she did initially. Everybody's had a chance to look at it. No remarks, comments?
Good with what we got, I think.
Well,
We have a motion on the floor, Mr. Chairman.
like I said, I've lost control. They're handling this situation. Mr. Johnson, I haven't heard from you. I'd like to hear from you.
Hey. So move.
That was out of order. All right, have you looked it over pretty good, Mr. Johnson?
Yes,
You satisfied with
I
it?
am. I am.
Well, good gracious. Well, let me say this briefly. What this does is assigns not only a level of chain of command of responsibilities, it places and disperses the council in different areas of representation and authority during the coming year. And I think it will clarify for everybody the sort of who reports to who in what direction. If you'll notice, for those of you that haven't had an opportunity to look at it, it not only gives Mr. Johnson is elected from Ward 1 to represent his ward of people on the city council on city business. This organizational chart allows Mr. Johnson, not only is he assigned in a certain area as liaison with a good bit of responsibility in that department, but that line goes across to every single department of the city, so that if his citizens are concerned about the fire department, if they're concerned about the dog, the animal control, he can go to any of these areas.
Y'all didn't meet at 2 o'clock.
This is our contract with the probation people.
Okay.
So bring Thursday night on the agenda.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'll do
Is
that.
this,
Their version of supplemental is if you don't
Ladies and gentlemen, the hour has arrived. I call this meeting to order. Mr. Griffin, well, they've got the invocation is first. Would you have the invocation for us, please?
Let's pray. Our God and Father in heaven, thank you for this day. Thank you for the rain that you sent us. We take now and ask that you look down on us as we take care of our city business, give us wisdom, give us knowledge, let us take and do the things we need to do for the city of Hazlehurst. All these things we ask in your Son, Jesus Christ's name.
Amen. Let's stand and pledge allegiance to the flag of our nation. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Gentlemen, you've got the agenda before you. Anyone like to amend it in any way, make additions, subtract whatever, what would you need, corrections?
Let's move straight to 20.
I like your train of thought, sir.
We vote on that?
Yeah, I want to know if y'all can vote on that. There will be a little, in the mayor and commissioner's section, a little item that that we've already talked about. I'll discuss it a little bit there, but I don't think it's such we need to make an amendment. I entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Offer motion.
Mr. Johnson made a motion to approve the agenda. Is there a second?
second.
seconded by Mr. Ramey. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We've got an agenda. Okay, did y'all say you wanted to move this number 2 down a ways now?
Yes, sir. Mr. Bragg had a presentation in Eccles County, and he's on the way now, said he would be here around 6:30.
All right, we'll come back to that as when he arrives. Okay, for the next item 3 was to be handled by our new employee and Public Works Director, Carl Leggett. And Mr. Leggett left here just a little while ago. He told me, he and I were out on a little project earlier. He said, Mayor, I've got kidney stones. He said, I've got trouble with kidney stones. And I said, man alive, you don't need to be out here. He said, I said, I think I'm going to wiggle around and get it moved. So at any rate, just a few minutes ago, not too long ago, he said, Mayor, you mind if I skip out of here? But in other words, to make a long story short, if any of y'all had any experience with kidney stones, the man left here was kidney stones trouble. So he's gone home with certainly my blessing because I've suffered those things myself. But in discussing this city administrator, and actually, you may need to say administrator-grant writer, which has always been Sarah and Phil Davis over at Alma. And there's a process by which we go through to evaluate this that I have not been familiar with, but I really like it, and we went through it this year. You take and get a list of qualified, or let them submit a list of people who want to apply to be for the position and job or contract. And then with this, you send out a list of yourself and you to a group of qualified people, and then they respond back if they want to apply. And after they respond back, then you have a committee that sits down and goes through them and evaluates them. And in this case, of course, all of you know how long we've been with Sarah Davis over from Alma, and what a wonderful job she's always done. In fact, she's known statewide as probably one of the very best. And but at any rate, we went through that process, and Carl initiated it and handled the process. He was more familiar with it, and he was going to present this. And of course, Sarah Davis came out with the highest point score for the coming year. And so the committee is recommending to the council that we contract with ALGA, Ms. Davis, for another year to rent the 218 CDBG grant. Any discussions, questions you'd like to, Bernice, would you like to elaborate any more on what we went through in that process?
I actually have the paperwork, Mayor, if the council would be interested in seeing. It's basically the City of Hazlehurst financial year 2018 CDBG request for proposals, and this has been advertised in our local origin, which is the Jeff Davis Ledger, and it had to be submitted by February the 9th at 5 o'clock. And there's guidelines that we have to follow. If someone wants to become familiar with this packet, there's evaluation ratings, criteria, sample documents, qualification evaluation forms, so on and so forth, that have to be followed for this type project.
Okay, anybody else got any comments about this process?
Is this a requirement by the state for us to do this?
It's not necessarily, now here again, I'm new with this, so I need some help. But as Carl's quite experienced with it, and this is what Carl told me, and it appears that this is the case. You don't have to go through this process, but if you don't, you're responsible for all of the fees. You cannot use any of the grant money or anything to pay the consultant or the grant writer. If you go through this process, which the Department of Community Affairs has outlined, then you can pay up to 6% of your grant in toward these fees, which you use your grant money to pay these costs with. So we're actually foolish not to do that. For instance, normally when we've been doing a $500,000 project, 6% would be $30,000 is allowed to use for this type of service. So that's what, as I understand it, how it works. Eric, do you know anything more about that?
No, like I said, we've had the process, and what I understand has been there, but we've never went through it or anything else in the past. And I believe the grant has been actually, the money's actually been paid to them through the grant and everything in the past, but we've never been through it. But the procedure's been there, but we've not done it. And they always paid it out of the grant money anyway, like I said, I mean, if it's something we need to follow to make sure that we can do it, there's nothing wrong with taking it and going through
Well,
the
that's what we've
process.
done, right, thank you. Well, of course, it doesn't hurt me to get a little aggravated every now and then, but I've been sitting in this position now about 6 years, all total in years, and I've been to every available training that's been available to me as mayor, and I've sat here for 6 years, and it's the first time I've ever laid my eyes on it in the last few weeks. Now, you folks explain that to me.
I haven't seen it either, that's why I'm asking questions, and I'd like to have a copy of that, you know, because something like that really.
So I could blame somebody or some people or whatever, but then too, with me going to as many sessions of training for mayors and council and other things that I've been to, and for our Carl Vinson Institute of Government to not have this worked into some of those training courses, to be perfectly honest with you, I was just a little aggravated at
Well,
this.
see, even when I went through the grant writing course and everything, was it 3 years ago, Dwayne, I went, they did not even take, and this was something that was a touch and move on and whatever else, and that was it. That's how much emphasis they put on there. A lot of it may be that it's DCA training, that they go, that you get it then, you know what I'm saying, through DCA and everything, they go 100% into it.
Well,
But
I was a little mad with somebody, but I didn't know who it was.
as long as you got it before we got here, we're good.
He wanted it to be Bernice, but that was okay.
We'll say as long as I've been with the city, every 2 years, which all we're qualified for, we have never missed a CDBG grant.
Well, that's one reason, I guess. We've had an excellent track record with Sarah and our folks. So that may be some of it, but at the same time, we often know the rules, but we know them now. All right. Any further discussion about this? Something else I want to tell you. You know, I've told you that when you go off and take some courses, as a general rule, you come back with just enough knowledge to be dangerous. Well, that's pretty well holds true. I've just gotten back recently from additional training. I was on a course that told me, and Mr. Attorney, you can look at the code and substantiate this, I'm sure, with a little time. I wouldn't be in any big rush about it. But in this meeting, this is very brief and a crude mayor's illustration. They told us that when we put an announcement of a meeting of the mayor and council and post it, and we come in here, we can call it a work session, because I've been apologizing occasionally with Charles about needing to do something before Thursday, or back when we was a week apart from these meetings, and said we need to go ahead, y'all, and sort of break the rules and vote and let him do this because he needs this before we get back. Well, I even interrupted and showed my ignorance in the class and said, now look, I understand that stuff, Mr. Stone, anytime that you announce a public meeting and you come in here, y'all can do what in the heck you please, and you ain't got to apologize to nobody. So I don't have to apologize anymore when we make a decision in a work session. It's perfectly legal.
Yep.
So that's the point I'm trying to make. All right. Bernice, a lot of times it's down on the end causing disturbance down there. Does it catch it? Does it catch it?
John's over here just to point at me.
Yeah.
I reckon we can have a little fun with it. Get a little business. All right. Anything else about the grant administrator? I will say this on behalf of those of us that looked at it, and I think that unanimous with all of us, there ain't no way you can improve on Sarah Davis's grant writing. So I think it's just a matter of voting for it next week. All right, go down to the next item. We did the same thing with the city engineer. Exactly the same process. Sent out all the questionnaires to all the engineering firms. They sent their information back and told us how good they were and what they'd done and what experience they'd had, and we went through them. And when we got through with the We had 3 engineering firms that were oh, I'm not talking about that. We had 3 engineering firms off the applications that absolutely had almost perfect scores, including the one that we use now, Carl Hoster. When we got through in the grading process, we couldn't say anything but something good about Carl. Carter and Sloat, the same thing. Those people are outstanding, been in business for a long time. Bland don't like them, but they're a strong engineering firm. They've had this sort of experience. They're well-staffed. And then on down, what was the third one that got such a high rating? And then there was one that fell down pretty well, but we had 3 that almost had perfect
Turnip
scores.
Seed Engineering, and Tim Ingram. Ingram was the
Tim Ingram
fourth.
didn't. Yeah. Well, who was the other one of it?
Those were the 4, because the other 2 were the administrators.
Okay, all right. At any rate, all of them had almost perfect scores. There was just a slight difference. And the committee has made the recommendation to the council that we use turnip seed for the coming year. And we will make that proposal in the form of a motion come Thursday night. If you got any questions about the process of what we did, or you want any modifications, you can let it be known. Any questions?
Who's the committee? You and?
Me and Carl and John Ramey and Bernice.
I got in late. I was not,
He was the instigator. Of the
I was
meeting.
not a full committee.
He was the instigator of the meeting. He had the other.
He was just halfway committed.
Any other questions? We'll move on. I figured, Mr. Attorney, are you handling this intergovernmental agreement? I figured you're,
It's almost good to go. I spoke with Judge Willis this afternoon. He's supposed to get with the other 2 members of that organization. They looked at everything, and he thinks it's going to be fine. So hopefully, I said I'd like to have it ready for Thursday night, so he's going to see what he can do.
well, now that, with them deeding the property and the agreement going through, but now this thing that Ms. Bennett has got in here is the agreement between,
The intergovernmental agreement.
the intergovernmental agreement now, and she's, I fussed about it a little bit, but she's convinced me that I need to shut up, so
That's what she told me.
Well, it's all right for me to make this remarks. She has convinced me that I need to hush. But now, any questions about this? Have y'all studied this intergovernmental agreement?
I think it's fine. I mean, the way it is. There's nothing in it that we can't take and accomplish. I mean, with,
That project's going to be a real asset to the community.
I believe
And there with the library, they're just going to make a statement, I think, when people come through.
that, and I said, I think the biggest part that's gonna be, well, it's not gonna hold us back or the county back as far as farmers market and splash pad and whatever else, but possibly getting the fields built and everything like we need to, because I understand that's quite a chunk of change there.
That's a recreational job.
Exactly.
That's recreation, that's not us.
That's why I said, I think everything else is gonna be fine, but
Let me say one more thing on that property. Either side on Educational Drive or on Farm Street, there's sewer available. But if you get to the middle of that complex, it's gonna be mighty iffy if sewer can be made available, right? I mean, it can be made available. You may have to put a small pump or something in, but there's not gonna be an elevation drop in that location. That's getting to the very end. Sewer in every direction. So any of the edge will be good. There's no sewer on 341 on that side, and it's very shallow on
Farmer Street.
And Elementary.
But tell me this, Glenn, how successful are we with the bathrooms out there now?
And no problem there, but again, on both ends.
Okay, how much falling you got there to get
Got
in?
plenty right there.
Huh?
Got plenty right there.
Goodness
But
gracious.
it's when you get to the middle of that complex. You're gonna have a lot further to run, you got to have it on grade,
Well, but if you have to, if you've got enough fall out there where those precedent stand
That's what I'm
is,
saying,
you can run it to that place instead of trying to go to 341.
Right, well, 341 that has it there.
Well, you can go into that line in public.
Any bathrooms or water facilities need, where the drainage needs to be either towards the educational drive, or like library, or on Farmer Street.
Or Mount Zion, or Old Graham Road,
Right.
I don't think that'll be a problem, we just need to let any engineer that goes to work on it know that.
We just need to get the library hooked up.
Okay, all right, that's good information, thank you for bringing that up. Now, in spite of Ms. Bennett and her assistant, Mr. Smith, remarks, if you'll turn over to page 2, they go down the county, number 6, the city shall be responsible for maintenance and upkeep of the splash pad and playground. The county shall be responsible for maintaining the grounds, including all grass cutting, maintaining and parking area, Highway 301. The city shall be responsible for cleaning and maintaining the restrooms.
My understanding was, she said that the rec department's gonna do the sweeping out and everything, the city's just gonna do the hosing down. And the way that she understood they're gonna be built, you can just stand there and hose them down.
We've got city parks that we're real proud of, and I want the bathroom facilities in these city parks redone, open back up like they should be. I think we all do, but now let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. We have fought the filth and nastiness of trying to keep those things up in these public areas that you've ever seen, and it is an impossible task. And to think with the experience we've had over on Plum Street with Buddy Spann Park, and this one out here, and the one over in
Young Street.
it's impossible to keep these bathrooms clean. And for me to sign this agreement, it's got my name down here, to keep them up, I dread it. Now, I tell you, I don't know what to do about the bathroom situation in that thing, but you're talking about putting yourself a headache. You are taking on a headache.
I understand you only collect as much as you need.
And not only is Miss Bennett and Mr. Smith being smart aleck, now you are.
Let's hold a class about how properly to go to the bathroom.
Okay, you. Hey, Lord, what a mess. But at any rate, I'm sort of questioning having to keep that thing up for, because that's gonna be a high traffic area. And, it's gonna be a task, but at any rate.
The thing about it is like I said, if we take and maintain it on if we get to where we maintain it on a daily basis or whatever else, we're not gonna have the issue, because the park's not gonna be open at night. It's gonna be closed at night. Okay, the splash pad will be, there's nobody gonna be in the farmer's market, and until they have the rec fields built, there'll be nobody out there in the evenings for it. I mean, it's just getting things on a daily basis to be done and making them stick to it. That's the biggest thing there. I mean, we have somebody that cleans the offices, the police station, the fire department, whatever, and already now in place.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Will there be a means to lock up the bathrooms at the dark hour?
I would think they need to be. I mean, like I said, because at the same time you close down the
About
splash pad,
the only way you're gonna keep fixtures in a park, period. City, county, I don't care where it's at, is go ahead and get the gel type stainless
Yeah,
steel
stainless.
and hook them back to back where you can't tear them off the wall. Now, I've been through it, I bet I put 15 commodes over doing Boulevard, and that's the most open one we got. And Buddy Spann Park, we might have had nailed it shut, it's back there exclusive.
Keeps anything you ever seen in your
We
life.
just, I mean, they go in there and go bricks and bust commodes with bricks. But if you do that, go ahead and be prepared to put the stainless steel things like you put in the jail cell. That's what we were going to do before, and that, I don't want to change your mind, but that's the only way you're going to keep replacing that because they don't want them comfortable.
Well, let's not belabor this point. We all know it's a headache, and I'm gonna listen to Ms. Bennett and Mr. Smith, and I'm gonna shut up, but I want the minutes to reflect that I told you so. And, I want in this to consider putting up a a strategic pole or something, and technology is such now with cameras that we can properly monitor the outside of who comes and goes. And the tight rascal that goes in there and busts and breaks up this thing, I sure would like to put Mr. Williams on a track to try to find it. But anyway, pardon?
That'd be fine.
Well, I think we belabored that too much.
Let's roll.
Let's roll. Beer and wine license, I think Ms. Godwin has jumped through every loop necessary for us to approve her beer and wine license at the Mexican restaurant about Pig the Week.
As a matter of fact, we have Miss Jennifer Godwin and her husband, Adon Martinez, with us tonight.
Good to have you here, ma'am, and we appreciate you putting that business in the city. It seems to be doing real well, and we want you to know that we're a partner with you to help you very much. Would it help you, since I found out that we can approve this, would it help you with approval tonight, or is Thursday night sufficient?
It's up to you.
Pardon?
It'd be great to get approval tonight or not, it's up to you.
Would it help you any?
Yes,
It would help you?
Yes, sir.
Gentlemen, I suggest that we use my newfound information and approve this license tonight.
I make a motion to approve the license.
I second that.
Mr. Bloodworth made the motion, seconded by Mr. Randy, we approve the lady's license. All of the paperwork, I can tell you, for those others in the group, everything is in order, everything, she's jumped through all the loops. Is there any further discussion about issuing her license? Hearing none, call the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, Ms. Godwin, you have a license
Thank you.
as of right now.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move on. We've all been faced, and for the audience, the First Baptist Church is building one of the most beautiful church sanctuaries, I think, within 100 miles of here. I, as mayor of this town, even though I'm a staunch Methodist, I was born in the Methodist church, and I'm going to die in it. The Baptist church has put something down there that's absolutely fantastic, and I am proud of it. Now, I tried to, the city, we tried, and y'all tried to help me or whatever, to buy that old school and make a civic center out of it. And the First Baptist Church, B.H. Claxton, and a lot of other folks beat me and whipped me, and I've been whipped before. But they got it, and now there's a major street running through the middle of where the school was and where the church is. And they know there's going to be a tremendous amount of people going back and forth from the sanctuary, and they're wanting to really do some modifications on the street, and I want to help them. However, I am getting, apparently it's getting out in the community, and I'm getting some folks coming to me and tell me, man, if you mess up that street, I'm going to be on your rear end. So I'm getting some flack about it. But I think we as the council need to work with the church some way and help accomplish what they're trying to do.
Okay, we own the street. Okay, that was done, 2 years ago, we swapped it over, and now the state of Georgia owns the little strip in front of there, in between Embark and where they're building the church now.
I think it's older than that, but whatever, anyway.
Anyway, it's been a couple of years since we swapped it. But anyway, we own the street there. I don't think there's no reason to close the street at all. That would be, I think it would be pointless. Now, it being a city street, we can take and allow them to close it on Sundays when they take and have church. And that's not a problem. I think that's within our purview to do because it is a city-owned street. Doesn't have anything to do with the state. We can allow them to do that. I might be right, but I'm just thinking we can. If we want to do that route. Or we can take and, put the speed bumps in down there past where Automall Bank or Renaissance Bank is, and one on the other end coming in right about where the museum is. We could do that, and that would definitely slow the traffic down going through, if we ought not to allow them to close it on Sundays and then possibly Wednesday nights.
I say paint on the crosswalks and put some flashing lights up.
And, I mean, they can put a crosswalk in, whatever, and like I said, flashing lights, that's fine too. But like I said, we just need to take and, I don't think we need to close the street.
Well, I'm not the mayor, I've had a lot of feedback, people want the street to stay open.
Yep. But like I said, we've got options because we own it, it's not a state right of way.
Well, those citizens, and like I said, it's such a great enhancement to our community, I'm so proud of it. And we certainly want to do everything we can to help them. Now, the one problem that, I think our people come to me, is to put a sign up saying no through traffic. When customers come to the bank and various places, that a lot of people don't even get out on 341, and if that's done, they've got to go out on 341. I mean, it's just such a problem.
Yeah.
It's a headache, but at any rate, I want us to work with them, but I don't know exactly how far we're gonna be able to go without having a hanging.
I agree with my fellow council members that, I don't think we need to be closing the street, but, we need to be able to work with the church. And I don't see any reason that we cannot, temporarily, close it off on Sundays, possibly even on, Wednesdays. You have law enforcement anytime that you have a funeral or something of that order that's gonna be there anyway. I think we could work with both parties, the business and the church, and come out with people.
Well, it'd be like Mr. Griffin said a few minutes ago, see, with us owning the street, we can tell them that any time they're having a service, funeral, or whatever, have barricades and close it. Because during the church time, you just at night, or, you know, of course, funerals is a little different, but you've got a lot of sheriff's people out trying to help direct traffic during that time, and our Ken staff is out working with them too. So during the day at funerals, I say let them close the street whenever they want to. Best time to open the thing up, and they're afraid of the traffic with maybe children's programs and all. They said, people just speeding up now, we want to slow the traffic down. Man, I hate them speed bumps. If anybody
Close
wants,
it anytime they want to,
Yeah.
they won't ever go.
You need to take, be specific.
well,
If you're not specific, you just open up a can of worms and said, well, you said anytime, we want it closed 24/7, 365. You fall back into that. You know
All right.
what I mean? That's-
gentlemen, these folks are wanting to hear something from us. Now, that's what this session is for, is for us to discuss it and all. We need to get our heads together, and I think jointly, I think we all want to do the right thing. I think between now and Thursday night, we need to come up with a concrete plan, as Mr. Griffin has just said. We say this is what we agree to do, and do it for them.
So, I think we should take, like I said, allow them to close the street on Sunday from, what time's the first service start?
8 o'clock.
Have them start at, close the street, close at 7 a.m. and reopens on Sunday night at 9 p.m. And, because they're usually gone by then and everything. And then they can close it Wednesday evening from 5 o'clock to 9 o'clock.
Maybe a little earlier, because the children get out of school, whatever the appropriate time is.
What time's the bank, close up though on, Wednesdays?
Bank closes usually at 5 o'clock, and you ain't getting no money after 5 o'clock around here unless you got ATM.
And they do.
And they're
Every
not,
sign does have an ATM.
and like I said, I mean, it's just one of those, and even if they put the closed street right there, the sign at the Renaissance Bank, so people could pull into the Renaissance Bank, that's fine. It's not coming down the traffic to where they're parking and everything else.
But it's blocking, they don't like that now, I can tell you, because a lot of their customers come in.
What's wrong